Hello everyone, Mike with Spray Jones. And we're going to get into a popular subject, which is, can I spray to foam myself? Can I get the equipment? Can I rent the equipment? Can I pick it up? Or how do I DIY do this myself? Very popular, and we're going to get into that today. Thank you so much to everybody that is continuing to subscribe and check out the videos. Just a reminder, a lot of playlists. I'm grouping the playlists on topics so that you can find out things about fire, smoke, health and safety, roofs, non-vented, cathedral, basements, in-ground, everything. So check them out. Even if you're a long-time sub, there's probably something in there that you have missed and overlooked. Okay, on to today's video. Can I do this myself? The answer with the professional, I'm gonna break the rigs down two ways. One is the professional rig that we have, and then the second would be a hybrid of that or these DIY systems. So the professional spray rig system is not for the weekend warrior. Never has been, never will be. Just so you understand why, and this will give you a lot more understanding as to what you're getting into on the DIY stuff. Foam insulation has got to mix and mix well in order to make the final product. You are manufacturing from two raw chemicals the final product, and if it doesn't mix right and doesn't behave right, then you don't have the finalized product. So this is not paint, this is not board stock or prefabricated sheet products that you can buy, cut, and install. You're getting, in essence, raw chemicals, and you need the expertise to make sure that they go together properly. When it comes to a spray foam rig, there's absolutely no way that somebody could be orientated with this piece of equipment in a couple of hours to be able to go out and spray foam for a couple of days or even a week on their own home project. And the reason is quite simple. We've got air compressor, we've got generator, we've got the chemical in drums, you've got a drum pump system, so you need to know how to get the generator started, what power output it's putting to your electrical field. You need to have an understanding of how much air that you are putting out. The air has to be dry. It cannot have water in it, so there's a drying system. Sometimes there's an intercooler system to drop the air temperature down. You need to know how all those systems work, because if they stop working or aren't turned on or aren't set to the right setting, then your air is going to be too wet and it's going to clog up your spray gun in a matter of hours. If you don't have your generator tuned in right and started right, you could be putting out the wrong or insufficient amount of electricity. On the chemical side of things, you've got to have heavy 55-gallon drums loaded in. What are you going to do with the empties? Where are you going to put them? The drum pumps, there has to be a transfer system where the pumps draw chemical out of the barrels and then force feed it to the back of the proportioner machine. And this is where it really starts to get complicated. This machine is required, it runs sometimes under air pressure, hydraulic pressure, or electrical motor, and it's responsible for heating the product up, pressurizing the product, and then sending it down a heated line to a high pressure spray gun. Now, the proportioning unit is going to start in the $20,000 range, depending on how advanced of a machine, and go up from there. So you've got a lot of money invested in these high quality rigs, and they're very complex systems. It's not just turning them on and away you go. It's not a paint sprayer, even though it has a lot of similar components to a paint sprayer. What temperature do things need to be at? What happens if the drum pump stops working? What happens if you run a drum dry? Everything is 1-to-1 by ratio. Yeah, there's a lot of dummy lights and everything in these machines now that they'll shut you down and stop you from spraying if they're not on ratio, but you know what it's like to have a dummy light. You know, just because there's a sensor doesn't mean that it's going to work perfectly. But you got upwards of $10,000 worth of hose strung out on the ground, and then you've got a $3,000 spray gun in your hand with upwards of $1,000 worth of parts sitting inside of it. And to change out a mixing chamber can be $100, $200, plus all the O-rings. And these O-rings, you don't want to rip and tear them. So the average person that's never ever done this before cannot swing down to the home center, pick up one of these rigs of questionable size, and be orientated in an hour or a day, and then take this thing back and expect to make high quality, good foam. You can't get things dialed in. You're not going to have a good pattern. You might not have a very good mix. You might be off ratio, and I guarantee you're going to have some very frustrated people. Now, I've just said that. So what makes you think that DIY is going to be all that much different? I mean, the principles are all the same. You have got to mix equal parts of A and B. And the issue that I have with DIY foam is Canada's outlawed it for residential and commercial construction for a good reason. I mean, you can spray the back of a tub, you can do some patches in some areas, but you are not buying a pallet of this stuff and then spraying your basement. You're not buying a pallet of this or 2 pallets of this and spraying your home. I don't care if your house is back in the sticks somewhere. In Canada, we have a national code, and if the municipalities or the cities where you are enforcing the code and having inspections, they're going to require a CCMC certified material and a certified installer. So in Canada, it ends the discussion. Now, America, that is coming to you. You are going to see, once your ASTM standard is in place, that you are not going to be able to be DIYing your foam so easily, because there's going to be a reference standard for installation for the pros. And that's what's going to go into your building codes for your counties and your cities and your states. And then when that happens, more and more they'll choke down on the DIY market, because they don't want the problems that DIY can bring. And what are those? The product didn't mix. The tanks were at the right temperature. The tanks are under low pressure. When you use up half the tank or get down towards the bottom, sometimes you don't have sufficient pressure for it to mix properly. You get a horrible pattern. You get it all over yourself. It doesn't look right. And then if it does not mix, it can pop off. It can soak up water. It can crack. It can do a whole number of things. So most people that have worked with DIY foam now understand that they don't want to have anything to do with it. It's not for spraying your house. It's not for doing your vault ceiling over top of your garage. You need to get a pro in and get the professional foam mixed. And we've seen a couple of videos that are out there on YouTube. I'm not going to mention by names, but I mean there's some professional building people that have gone and gotten DIY foam, and it's been bread dough. It's been squishy. It's been like flexible foam when it should be hard. It didn't mix. And this whole system now of you picking up a machine in the back of the truck, and you got 5-gallon pails, and you're going to dump this stuff into the pails, and then you got a little paint sprayer pump. No, folks. Like, it's far more complex than that. If it doesn't mix, and it doesn't have the right amount of heat, and it doesn't have the right pattern, and you don't have the right humidity, and you didn't put it on at the right time, you create huge problems. So this has always been a very technical process to get A and B to mix, to get it to stick. Everybody's got all these fears of foam smelling, cracking, disbonding, dripping. It didn't get sealed right. I didn't put the passes on. They put too much on at one time. They didn't let it, all these fears come out for good reason. It's a technical product that needs the right product and the right expertise to put it on. So why do we want to revert back to DIY and trying to put it on ourselves? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So can you spray it? No, you really can't. You can't on a professional level, and I would be very cautious of any of these types of rental machines with the 5-gallon pails. I believe that's going to be answered very soon when the ASTM standards come out. You're going to see a change come in and regulations come in. Get a pro, vet them, get the right chemical, get the right process installed, and the foam's going to go on well, and you're going to like it, and you're going to enjoy it, and then you're not going to be dealing with issues where it didn't get in, it didn't bond, it didn't mix right, it's smelly, it's gooey, it's junky. You need to have professional expertise. And here's my final thing to say about that. We do this every single day. Every single day we're spraying foam. We know exactly what to look for and how it's supposed to operate. You don't have that. If you're DIYing it, you're learning on the job, and then that's it. That's your final job. That's your house. That's your money. You've invested all that money into that product, and if it's junk, well, you paid for it. You wasted it. Whereas with us, We're pros. We get to do this every single day. We know what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to behave, and how it's supposed to act. So that's the way you should get it done, as professionals. So I hope this is of help. I hope this will help somebody avoid having a spray foam nightmare and disaster. Click on the subscribe, share it with somebody who needs to see it, and we'll catch you on the next one.